I'm live now, but am I really alive or dead? Did Creetosis kill me or not? Put me in the grave? I don't know. To go through basically the tweets we sent back and forth to each other. Creetosis, stop responding to this guy. He's just desperate to defend Fallout 3 from criticism. Saw a clip of his video where he totally takes me out of context and changes my argument to be different so he can debunk it. Funny that someone who accuses others of using underhanded tricks does so himself. You talk about dishonesty is funny. You simply can't engage with criticism, can you? What clip and what did I do to take you out of context? Fuck you. I've never been dishonest in any of my videos. And yes, I can engage in criticism when it's blah, blah, blah. Clearly gatekeeping or something else. Don't know what is act. Stop replying to him, dude. It's worth it. He never engages in good faith. Besides, I got everything I needed from him yesterday. Oh, yeah, you're one to talk about good faith. Keep your fans in your echo chamber. Then, of course, illusionary truth. Basically, the tendency to believe false information to be correct after repeated exposure. Creetosis, fuck off, retard. So let's start with this one. What started it all? Did a stream with someone else revisiting Creetosis is objectively bad. Well, I would feel like a coward if I didn't let Creetosis. I'm going to be going over his preamble and his Fallout 4 analysis tonight. Fuck off, retard. I guess you aren't interested in a more honest discussion about media than many people online seem to be. Quote from that video. It's a shame, but your choice. This is exactly why I won't waste my time on you. Nearly every interaction I had with you has nothing but exceptionally disingenuous piece of shit through and through. You aren't interested in an honest discussion, and you never fucking been. You aren't interested in honest. You've been interested in either defending the shit games from justified and unjustified, accurate criticism, or you're trying to discredit and tear down someone you don't like, and regardless of which. You're trying to go through any dishonest and disingenuous memes. Fuck off and leave me alone, you insufferable fucking cunt. Such a nice way to phrase this. And I don't agree with this assessment. Frankly, I think this is projection. Last one in this one. Keep telling yourself a lie and maybe it will become the truth. Why am I disingenuous? Because I believe your logic is fundamentally flawed. That's not being disingenuous. That's called a difference in opinions. You should learn the difference between the two. It sort of gets difficult to sort of follow along. No, you're being disingenuous because you make shit up to suit yourself. You twist what I say and argue against the straw man you make instead of what I actually say. You take context away from the things in order to make me look bad and try to discredit me. Why? That's why you're disingenuous. Here's a good example of a rain argument in Fallout 3. I said there's no rain in Fallout 3. My source is the game itself, since that is what I'm criticizing. That is a primary source. And I should really bring these all up, because I'm a dumbass. You speak out of thin air that it is console limitations. Already, this is a clear example that you're a dishonest fuck because it's proof you're not willing to make up to suit yourself to make arguments you don't like. Go away. But wait, there's more. Even though my source is a primary source, the game itself, you need an outside source to concede on the shit you made out whole cloth, thin air to defend the game from criticism. That's peak and disingenuous. You're either admitting shit and nothing to back it up, or you have no source or evidence. You're just claiming it to be true in order to concede the point. You're demanding a source that explicitly says it never rains in the game when the entire game is evidence for the lack of rain. You've been a disingenuous fuck, and from the goddamn start, you know it. Your first criticism of me, you got wrong, and you had to be fucking told what was in the video and only conceded when I quoted the script to you, and you had no out. But then you turn that shit about me being defensive and not roll over for your bullshit. So no, it's not a matter of simple difference in opinion. It's you've been dishonest, disingenuous, and not just little fuck from every little start, and you continue to behave constantly through every single interaction we had. Then you start demanding debates from me, calling me a coward. I didn't even technically challenge him to a debate. I didn't realize this. I just said eventually I want to do. I just implied it. I didn't even technically say, debate me, bro. I didn't pull a debate me, bro. Whoa, I'm proud of myself. I'm like, dude, what the hell? But Creetosis got that thing. You don't get to have a debate because you talk shit. I mean, disingenuous arguments against me. I'll cover your video as I please, and I will tear it apart. What a cocky asshole. And then Griffin Gaiman watched in and called you all altists. Of course, he crossed the line by also, because of your avatars, calling you a furry and brony and other things that I won't mention here that I really shouldn't have. I think he was trying to be joking about it. You took it autistically serious. Okay, fair enough. But you know what? Coward. Fuck you. Other times I sort of ask either him, his friends, or his fans to have a discussion about the game with me, not even necessarily a debate. Might have happened more, but I do not remember that. So cite your source if you want to say I've done that multiple times. But I did call him a coward because, hell, I don't think he is genuine. He keeps on deflecting to points that weren't in my video, like the rain one, which we are about to go into, not from his framing, but I'll still own what I said. But let me put some context to it. Call me a coward for not wanting to deal with your dishonest bullshit. Constantly project all your bullshit on me, including the fact you're projecting. You do all the shit you excuse me of ad fucking nauseum. Wonder what the fuck I'm sick to God of you retarded shit. And to even make it better, you won't leave me alone. You start shit with me every few months and you go out of your way to engage with me. You can block or ignore me, you fucking retard, okay? You said it enough. Normally I don't use that word, but since he's throwing that around every other word, might as well. You go out of your way to engage with me and make it more clear that I want nothing to do with you. Well, stop fucking lying and being disingenuous about me. I can prove that you let Pagan tell pretty much straight out lie. Maybe you would call it a twist into the truth or a misunderstanding by Pagan, but in his video, he said he went in with good faith. I can disprove that. Then he said, I wanted to talk to you. I can disprove that too. I was willing to have him talk directly to him, but you know what? Just conveniently cherry pick your points. And your screenshots too. This is actually harassment at this point. I think I can make a case that what you're doing is harassment, but I'm not a little bitch. Okay, for the final time, fuck off, you disingenuous cunt. Let's see if he has the actual context for that. No, I think he cut the context for that. So off to the races. His little video where all my comments are hidden. Here, I'll point this out. You must be extremely desperate to resort to such absurd semantics like to get a W here. Yeah, John didn't literally say the exact words, Megaton eats mole rats. But it's heavily implied by the fact he referenced the mall rats behind the town in the way he did. Like most people get caught in this particular argument. Bullshit. Not reading anymore. I think I covered this in one of my videos. Heavily implied by the actual source is just freaking autistically reaching for a reading, heavily implying just because he was talking about the mole rats when he was using it as an example of the mole rats. A little disingenuous here, and yet he still defends it, even with some crap like that. When I'm just trying to survive this critique. Yeah, cheeky, I know. Got recommended through channels looking for blah, blah, blah. Gonna get to all this happens before the rain argument happens. Just letting you know. Mr. Caption, why the food chain using faulty logic? What did the crickets eat? Bottom of the food chain, grass. The same grass the Brahm eat. I hear it's called scrub grass. Try hard or not, I'm right. I haven't found evidence there's no grass for crickets to eat. Mr. Caption might have been entertaining, but He also thought you could set off the atomic bomb by shooting it. That's not how it works in the real world, so I doubt that's the way it works in Fallout 3. Oh, by the way, someone obviously eats mole rat meat. I don't know if it's the people of Megaton or not, but the existence of mole rat wonder meat maker by blah 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 shows evidence of that. Okay, it doesn't rain. Here we come to the rain. Doesn't rain, not a drop, blah, blah, blah. Capital Wasteland, according to the game, despite not showing it. Subjective. When you're going to have a negative bias against the game, you're not going to accept anything that it shows, in my personal opinion. And Crete definitely has a bias against Bethesda. Here's what he's quoting. There is no proof that it never rains. It just doesn't show it because of the limitations of the game engine. From my research, not even blah, blah, blah. I remember game came out, New Vegas got rain effects in the Honest DLC. You can criticize, blah, blah, blah. I could be wrong. If you could find me a source that says it never rains in the Capital Wasteland, I could verify that and I would concede to your point. Talking about in the game world, just because for whatever reason, I don't know if it's game limitations, just trying to get it out for port, or the fact that the freaking rain, even in Oblivion and Morrowind, was buggy as all hell. That much is easy to find. And that there's no precedence for rain actually being in the Fallout franchise. They didn't have it in Fallout 1. They didn't have it in Fallout 2. If you want to have such a bad faith interpretation of the world building, fine, but you have to accept some people are going to just accept just because the rain feature in that particular game in that particular time, you can't say in universe completely that it never rains just because Bethesda did not include it. It's such an autistic point to try to get me on and just shows the bigoted nature, the intolerant, sorry, bigoted isn't the right word, intolerance for other people's perspective. There is a good reason this was cut, didn't get brought up in my video because I thought it was a really weak argument that I could not use in my video I was putting together for. I think I was actually making the Mr. Caption video, recording and editing it at the time I did it, but it's been a year, so hard to tell. I can see how this looks for a modern day gamer, blah, blah, blah. You're really scratching absurd decrees to defend the game. The game itself does not show. Engine limitations does not excuse. Morrowind had rain. Oblivion had rain. Blah, blah, blah. DLC, Skyrim, all these games except were on 360 and had rain. Except for Skyrim was on the creation engine, a completely different engine that was much better. I'm not going to say the game embryo engine was good. I compare it to the VW Beetle, or some people call it the bug. So I think it's a good fit for it because as much as I don't use the term Bugthesda, it's a nickname for them for a very good reason. There's no excuse for Fallout 3 to not have rain. Yes, there is a good excuse. Well, not good. They could have had it. It would have looked like shit. It would have actually contradicted what the environmental storytelling of the Capital Wasteland shows. The Potomac River was drying up for whatever reason. They used the nuclear war, which I'll be bringing up later, to say that the climate shift to make the DC wasteland almost have very little rain. But to say it never rains is to like say it never rains in Fallout 1 or 2. So that sort of double standards seems to be a very critical failing in my personal opinion. If you want to cherry pick and have that double standard, I don't think very much of you. And it seems bonkers and only up to someone with a very biased perspective who would defend that point. And he will be bringing that up later. Okay, makes sense, desert. Makes sense for the desert not to get rain. It does not make sense, except for the fact they have an explanation for it, and it's shown in the world building. Sorry, no character told the player character like that. I think there's line in Fallout 2 to say they're in a drought season. It would have been much better for Fallout 3 to have at least one character talk about how they've been in a drought. Maybe it's in the game. I haven't seen it. I'm not that autistic to go through like Creetosis is. And if people want to say I shouldn't call Creetosis autistic, I think he matches it quite well overall. Although I have nothing, I'm not calling him dumb. Someone's like, you calling him autistic because you're saying he's dumb? No, autistic people sometimes are highly intelligent. Autism is just a matter of factors that run in range that can tell you a little bit about different people. I'll put the rain issue aside until I get to that. I'll put the rain issue aside until I get to that latter part in the video. So I'm writing these down as I'm watching this video in phases. Because reminder, this is an 8-hour video. Okay, so I acknowledge I'm still mid watching the video. So Creetosis is cherry picking a point to call me disingenuous why I am watching this video and probably before actually getting into the research. And I don't bring it up again later for him to say, I will admit to the truth. The fact, sorry people, Fallout 3, it's not in the physical game unless you have a mod. But in universe, can you prove that it does not rain? You can't prove it either way. That's one of those subjective things. But automatically, if it's not in the game, Creetosis will automatically assume that it doesn't exist. He's like a little child. You hide a freaking little toy behind you, and he's like, where did the toy go? Where did the toy go? That's the sort of level of logic Creetosis is working with. And some places, I can almost understand his approach, but it's not like this is even an argument he came up with. This is literally an argument. I think it actually originated with Seamus Young. I covered the point I want. I'll put the rain, and to give context that I was still in the middle of watching this video and doing research. Brought up a line. You also said, realize I won't always be able to do so. In fact, I missed a lot of things. Impossible to get everything. I just pointed out you missed what Billy Crees said in Megaton. How is that being desperate and disingenuous? I didn't miss Billy Cree's line. It's not relevant. There's nothing to back it up. It's worthless. I didn't kick the can down the road, blah, blah, blah. I talked to Rain and different reasons in the video. I'll use in a response to your point since it's relevant here. My approach, blah, blah, blah. Occasionally save point for later. He's admitting that I have not gotten to the point in the video where he's talking about rain, yet he's using this as a big gotcha. That seems dishonest, disingenuous, and very slimy that he tried to get me. So keep this in mind going forward. I gave a little bit more context to that he clearly cut and he did not bring up the beginning. And for some reason, he put this little joke, I'm glad you feel that way, after he said, I mean, as clear as it is, it sounds like a you problem to me. I'm glad you feel that way. If you're that defensive about this, a little bit of criticism, I hope you won't freak out on me if I add a little more. Winky smiley face. Maybe I should use the actual emoji. I don't know if they had that a year ago. I think I did both. Creetosis keeps bringing this weak argument of mine in a comment section that I haven't made since on an 8-hour video that he remade because his weak arguments in the original video, because the current video that's up, Fallout 3 isn't as good as you think. That's a remake, maybe a second remake. I think he did an edit, but I'm not going to confirm to that because his weak argument he remade because of his weak arguments in the original video to try to prove that I am disingenuous. How's this not rules for thee, not for me? Yeah, another example of what I mean when I call you disingenuous. Always deflect every fucking time. Exactly why I don't want to waste any more time on you. I'm going to read this all just for context's sake. Make sure I'm not being disingenuous. I want to really just record this for posterity. Everything else signed. This is exactly why I don't want to waste any more time on you. You know, the point is not the argument itself, is it not? Okay. But in fact, how you act in this encounter. You dispute my claim that you were disingenuous, so I provided examples of you being disingenuous, in which that you clearly took out of context to present on Twitter and probably in your video. Your dog shit disingenuous ass. This is really some deranged levels of dishonesty, in my personal opinion. I would like to see someone defend how he can frame this as this, set for just a completely ignorant, hypocritical bullshit. I don't see it. Maybe when I put this out in the video, I'll find it in the comments. Who knows? They need to flag that you haven't made an argument since. The problem isn't that Rain argument itself. It's your willingness to do anything to win an argument. I can throw that right back at you. I did not explicitly go for character attacks in my part 1. I don't even think I really did it in part 2. Yeah, I take some shots at you. Some jokes like really minor shit in my personal opinion. I do not see that as an attack. I implemented the same sort of rhetoric you did. In fact, that's my strategy. That's how I do some of these videos. I've had to change how I do my videos because of freaking autistic people who don't understand fucking jokes and are way too serious and are just completely dumb in media analysis. You don't give a single solitary fact about the facts. Yes, I do. I just think certain things should not be held up as a freaking saying that their Rain is not in the game because of the actual design. They kept it down to a minimum, stripped down for consoles. I am perfectly fine with you criticizing, but to say in universe, I find it hard to believe that it never rains in the capital DC wasteland, but almost just bringing up this point is a deflection. I asked him for another example. I don't think he comes up with one because this is his golden bullet, his silver thing to put me in that grave, which we'll be getting into. Just I'm out tearing something down. I could say the same exact thing, how your videos seem rather obsessed with matching in. Even for your Fallout, recent remade Fallout 4 analysis, you had to bring him up again. I covered that, which I will be stripping down to a video along with this one. And every single time you're calling out for this shit, you're trying to weasel out by focus on something else to avoid rather than address the actual criticism. If I point out an excuse, you doing something dishonest, your reaction is to street ad nauseum projection. Okay. I do it occasionally, but in this case, I think completely understandable. We both have our faults. I think your faults just horribly outweigh mine. I picked that example because it embodies every single interaction I had with you. Yes, you dishonestly taken something out of context to say something about my character when I just focused on your argument. That shows you would rather attack people than actual ideas when you get the chance. Okay, that tells me everything about you. Actually, no, it doesn't. Look, I'm not going to be as much of an asshole as Creetosis, or I won't try. Just because he's a slimy little disingenuous shit like this to twist this shit around doesn't mean that maybe I just pissed him off. I'm good at pissing people off, so I don't blame him for that. But he continues to be a disingenuous, dishonest bastard, or just completely deluded and deranged. I don't think I pushed him over the edge. Maybe he was over the edge because of Acerthorn. Maybe I should have given this little shit some slack and not fuck with him. But frankly, I don't want to. This guy's complete and utter asshole online. Someone's got to freaking say, no, I'm not going to just let you fucking say whatever you want about people and games. I don't personally care what you have to say about Fallout 3. I could have shrugged that off. I did H-Bomber Guy and Mr. Caption's video completely. I even sort of like Mr. Caption's video, even though I didn't agree with a couple of his videos. Doubt you watched that to see that, but I don't think you need to attack the person, but you think differently in this case for some reason. Okay, back into it. Not once have I seen it that you were in the wrong about a point made. Aside from the not a issue, not once have you conceded. Is there another point where I was completely wrong in reality and not just in your subjective opinion because you're autistically thinking just because Rain is not in the game, you can say it's not in the universe, or you just don't accept that's a valid understanding of the game framework that you have. Yeah, maybe I could have explained it more in detail, but people make mistakes. I'll admit I should have explained that point better. That in universe, there's really nothing to prove or disprove that the DC Capital Wasteland reigns. Conceded, Amita. Yeah, that's because that was my first attempt. I was streaming and I was sort of talking over during it. I learned from my mistakes and I try not to do it anymore. In fact, I keep the transcript up when I do these videos to make sure I don't. And I'll go back if need be before any comments, which you sort of hid, which even Patrice TV sort of pointed out when they were interested in this whole drama. Doubt they'll get interested in again. Only a half-hour video on you, and they don't give a shit about me because I'm too small, too insignificant. Yet you want to make all these freaking disingenuous character attacks on me because you're a butthurt little bitch. My opinion. Can't state that as a fact. Hey, maybe I was wrong about X, Y, and Z. No, it's always obvious you were trying to start shit because you had this weird obsession with me. I just find you an interesting lab rat and case study. Do I seem to have a weird obsession with H Bomber Guy, even though it's provable that he did a really big oopsie in his video that was incredibly dishonest? No, because I didn't talk to him. He doesn't try to make anyone look like a dishonest asshole and go on this crusade. There is going to be a point where someone's going to take issue with your video. And are you going to do the same shit, or are you going to grow up and take their argument like a freaking man and not the little man child you're coming off as? But it doesn't mean I'm going to just back off of criticizing you because look, he's obsessed with me because he talks about me. This is fucking YouTube. I make content. I do not fuck with you as much as some people fuck with other people. Some people have whole channels dedicated to hate on Griffin or the Act Man or other people. Get over yourself. You're not worth obsessing over. You keep on talking shit and trying to frame me as a bad guy, which does seem like projection since you think I think you're a bad guy. No, I admitted in my one comment. I don't think you're a bad guy. I think you're a small, sad little man who wants people to respect him instead of meme on him, mostly because you are toxic as all hell. You fucking feel entitled to my time and attention. No, I don't. You can completely ignore me, block me, whatever you want. You do not have to react to me at all. Why do you react to people like me? Like some of the stupid comments. We'll admit some of the comments just are mean, trollish, 8-hour video. But yeah, the chance after chance after chance, every single time you make dishonest, disingenuous bullshit arguments, bring up one. I think I disproved that you're more dishonest in what you're citing as an example. Give me another one. Not everyone is disingenuous. Sometimes people are wrong. John was wrong in a lot of parts. To assume that he's lying and not just have a different perspective. I think it's the player perspective. Personally, he goes down, he says the water source in Megaton is by the pool. I can see why you called him out. In my video, I even bring it up. But from a player's perspective, if you're playing the game, that is most likely the first place of water that you're going to go to as a new player. It's a little misleading. Maybe, but to say John of Many a True Nerd fame attended to be misleading with a lot of the stuff you call him a liar for just seems disingenuous and bad faith. You compare me to fucking Vosh of all people because I wouldn't roll over to your fucking arguments. No, I compared you to Vosh because you implement the disingenuous and obsessed.
Not like a pre-baked list of like anti-trans propaganda that they're disingenuously fronting, though they don't really disagree with Jesse. They're just trying to silence him. You know what I mean? It's that fake, grifty, disingenuous bullshit that I really, really hate.
I've been making jokes about you might end up at the Daily Wire. That's not true?
No. It's funny because, I'm going through something very real.
Nah, these guys are obsessed with me. Oh no, these guys are insane and they're obsessed with me, yes.
Well, you compared me to fucking Vosh. No, I did it because you keep on just calling everyone disingenuous, character assassination. I mean, as I said, I think John is really off base. Maybe he's dishonest, but I'm not going to make that attempt. If you come back to fucking pestering me with your name bullshit again, yes, it's my right on the internet. block me if you don't want that to happen. Always trying to provoke shit, never interested in an honest discussion. Projection here. I'm willing to have it. I was honest and he tried to use it as a gotcha. Fuck off, man. This is why some people aren't honest. Instead of once they're honest, people use it against it like you did. You freaking understand the attitude you have is why some people aren't honest some of the time. It's not the fact that they're dishonest, it's just they don't want to address that point because it seems like a deflection. I came at you with criticism and you deflect it. So you find this one little point to come at with me, and in the end, you took it out of context, stripped it. Maybe you didn't know, maybe you didn't do the research or think about how, in the context of those comments, how I would have experienced. You think you got a gotcha because a bullshit like that. Never approach me in good faith. And now you're trying to accuse me of double standards in my argument, making no fucking sense at all. Yes, you give a pass to Fallout New Vegas comparison to Fallout 3. Sorry, you use the excuse it's a desert, and why you might not like the fact that Bethesda worked in the environmental storytelling to make the DC wasteland into a desert because the excuse of the nuclear bombs actually shifting the climate is actually a very plausible and reasonable explanation for that. But saying they just did it to get rid of rain, I've seen that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm not going to freaking mind read people I have no freaking clue about. The difference between me and you, I'm not even going to try to mind read you. I'm just saying, you using that point, rather bad faith and disingenuous, taking it out of context to make me look bad. But I don't care because I don't care about your opinion. What I do care about is making content and understanding critics online. I remake my videos to improve their quality. That has nothing to do with what you're doing. I didn't ever say that. You don't want to acknowledge the fact that you want to erase the past. You made mistakes. It came off extremely negative. You got that extremely negative Reddit post from Mini a True Nerd. Okay, fine. Do what you do, man. My reason for not wanting to interact with you is because your pattern of behavior being disingenuous. You're as bad as Bob and Dane of the Phantom Initiative. I'm actually been hanging out with people who've actually been studying and trying to prove in good faith that their pattern of behavior fails. You wouldn't know about that because why are you bringing up this pattern of behavior? Have you even talked about it? Have you studied it? Do you have a fucking brain, education, or anything like this? Are you have an inferiority complex that I went to college, but my videos aren't up to your snuff, and I don't really give a damn too much about my little speech tics, especially when it turns out to be really funny, and I like some creative writing that probably goes over your autistic head. This shit has been going on for well over a year now. I think he's exaggerating. He likes to exaggerate to make a case against nothing. Give me instances where I really come after you. Now, if you didn't just keep talking shit about people, maybe I would leave you alone, but you have a pattern of behavior of going after other content creators, trying to call them idiotic, dishonest, blah, blah, blah. The idea that he has some sort of fucking truth on his side, he knows it all, and that only his perspective can be used. I find that a little bullshit and very Vosh like Creetosis, so fuck off. Don't care about that. It is rather deranged in my opinion, but you know what? If you take it as an insult, fine. I have every fucking right to be annoying as that is when you keep coming back to start shit. I have every right to not want to interact with you every single time you act in bad faith. Fuck off. You don't have to interact with me. Why do you call it bad faith? Just because I asked you to come into a discussion and you say, fuck off, retard. Do we have to go over that again? You come off as an asshole, and I try to be as polite as I can and not be a little bitch and just be like, yeah, I'm a retard. Sorry. Is that what you want, Creetosis? You want me to bend the knee? Just be like, oh, no. Oh, Creetosis, why? Why did I ever? go against you, become one of your little minions who doesn't think critically at all. You have all the critical thinking skill. Why should I have to think? You got it down pat, man. You know Fallout 3. You know it's objectively bad. Fallout 4, objectively bad. Keep it up. Tell yourself. Maybe he gaslights himself. I can't even say he's gaslighting anyone. So for transparency's sake and for kicks, I am covering this and I'm going to cut it up later. So, and again, you're too stupid. No, I'm not too stupid to understand this. I just call bullshit on this. This has reached the point of actual harassment. Please be a little bitch about it. You can block me. You have all the tools. You do not have to engage. Are you that fucking autistic that you have to respond? Or has my calls out of you actually reached you in some way, damaged you in some way? I don't know about that. I do call you a coward. It's not for you to react to me. It's because I legitimately think you're a coward. Who I asked him, has he debated anyone or even discussed the possibility of Fallout 3 being good? Who actually, he's like, I think I've done that before. I'm like, okay, I've seen no example of that. You don't test your standards against someone from the opposing side. Maybe I'm just an asshole and just confrontational and just don't like people bitching all about. But keep trying to justify your twisted logic all you want. You don't speak to people, you preach to them. You see every criticism as an attack. Little ballsy, maybe he doesn't. They definitely seem that way from my perspective. And here, okay, I'll engage with your rain argument if that's what you want. Yes, they could have coded rain into the game. No. Would it have matched the setting or look good or be worth coding into the game? No. Was there rain and Fallout before New Vegas DLC? No. You hyper focus on something I didn't even bring up in my video, and character attack is a major deflection. You start off your video with a big soapbox speech, then with your character attack on me before even addressing my video. That's called poisoning the well. I got the impression you were too much of a coward to feel like you could address my video without doing such a thing first. There's retard moment. Oh, broken brain Benny. Okay. At least he keeps this time short. Twitter blue to gaslight people. Way to go, Creetosis. You found a way to gaslight people without long threads. I'll engage with your rain argument if you want deflection again. It's not actual deflection. You want to have an issue. I want to explain what you consider a critical flaw, what made me disingenuous. These two things are connected. You're not giving me anything else connected besides a whole bunch of your deranged, delusional fucking comprehension of our relationship dynamic. I make YouTube comment on critics on YouTube who I personally don't like their methodology. I'm still stumbling my way through it, trying to get a feel of what good criticism is and what bad criticism is. And I'm pretty sure your version of subjective criticism is bad. Mahler's tends to be better when he stays on point, and EFAB to a certain degree. I even like Critical Drinker, completely not objective critic, but he tends to have a strong insight into the very nature. You imitate someone like fucking Mahler without understanding what he does. I think personally, copy paste, objective, and he doesn't even use it in the same inane way you do. Deflecting again, back at the corner of your disingenuous nature. You've seen it on the rain argument without addressing it when you made it up whole cloth. Okay, explain that to me. Your ass is nailed to the wall and you can't worm your way out of this time. Cunt, fuck you. Okay, what the fuck is he going on about? This is where things start getting deranged. He starts getting that evil sort of thing. How is that a deflection? I answered, I guess it never rains in Fallout 2, and New Vegas. Do you accept this also? Or are you so bad faith, debate brain that you have no abstract critical thinking skills to believe that? and getting deflection. This isn't about rain anymore, and you know it. You made shit up without anything to back it up. You want criticism you didn't like to go away. That is a freaking assumption to you. Okay, I'm trying to understand criticism, and I don't like your criticism of mind reading or petty ass little technicality bullshit. Bringing up other games is a whataboutism, a fallacy. You should know this since you're so fondly point them out. No, it is not. It's about being able to apply consistent standards in your criticism. But that must be a foreign idea to you. Yeah, you're right. You made it personal when it didn't need to be because I both criticized and mock you and your bad faith friend, Pagan. And made a whole video about out of his comment. And you lied about him coming in with good faith. Your wheels are spinning, Vinny. Keep digging that grave. You're doing a marvelous job at that. Okay, did he find a way to twist this in his video? I'll never find out because I don't give a shit about his opinion. But I will still criticize him for thinking that this is a win. Because you know what? Even if I go over that video on a stream, I'm going to be biased about it because it's pretty much at me. I don't believe in doing that. I ended up doing that for the whole Creetosis, Griffin Gaming slanders Creetosis because I thought it needed to be done and I thought it was an interesting video. Not many people watch it. Too long, but who knows? It has a lot of information on a lot of different subject matters. Still, not interested in the fact that you make shit up to dismiss an argument. Okay, we already pointed out you took that video, that comment, you completely took it out of context. I was still in the middle of watching the video, so I haven't gotten to a serious argument. I dropped it. And the fact that I have the personal perspective that just because it's not encoded into the game does not mean that it cannot be in the actual in-universe reality, okay? Because there are limitations to games. They could have put it in the rain into the game, but at that point, Bethesda, the VW Beetle game embryo, would have just sort of spun out and weaked out. Vegas is a desert, you main distinguishing feature is lack of rain. You still aren't adjusting the evidence that you're disingenuous. Asked for proof, I gave it. Failed repeatedly to address it. I think this is dishonest. Where did I fail to address it? It wasn't a point in my video, so maybe I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your point from a comment when I was still in the midst of watching the video. I didn't realize it bothered you so much, so I tried to clarify it. So he says it's a desert. This is his argument, and here's how I responded. In lore, although a lush temperature region before the war, climate shift caused by the unprecedented scale of nuclear warfare unleashed on the world had led to desertification. Once made fertile by the Potomac, the capital wasteland turned increasingly desolate as the river dried up over the years. You know, criticize Bethesda for being lazy and just still avoiding knowledge, and you make shit up like a fucking plague. I agree, blah, blah, get fucked. I'm glad you agree. There's no rain in Fallout 3. That means the plants are dead, which means I'm right. Give fuck, retard. Fuck you. I was right. No, it does not. Even then, there's the argument that the plants can mutate because the animals mutated into much bigger beings set to survive in the capital wasteland. So is it really that much of a stretch to actually think that the plants possibly mutated even further to survive in an area with very little water? Not at all inconceivable to me. But you know what? I have an imagination. Creetosis doesn't have an imagination or a sense of humor. I think is pretty clear. So I don't know what else to say to him because it's just like communicating with someone who literally has no concept of anything outside of his line of sight. I'm saying it is encoded in the game. Doesn't mean in universe it never rains. That was sort of my point all along. Yes. Just because it wasn't coded in the game. So I even gave it. If you want to count this as an autistic win, go ahead. You're technically correct.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
So, okay, and he keeps not even addressing. So, care to explain why Pagan lied about our interaction when, or you going to keep dodging that? Yeah, he never addresses it. Probably not smart to do, so I can give him some credit because he knows he can't defend that because he knows even if it's not a direct lie, Pagan had to twist the truth so badly for that to work. I'm Vincent Martin, and whoa, maybe this time I truly am done. Bye.
But I'm Creetosis. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong.